Hey guys, so this is a little bit different from the stuff I normally make, but welcome to a Things I've Read This Year video. I wanted to do this around halfway through the year so I could split it into part 1 and part 2, what I read the first half of the year, what I read the second half of the year, but I actually leave to go home from college in a few days, and with going home I can't take all of my books with me. So I figured I'd just do it now. You know, we're about a third of the way through the year, and I guess I can separate it up into thirds. And I just kind of wanted to talk about the books that I'd read while I have them on me still. So, yeah, I guess without further ado, let's get into it. I was deciding whether I wanted to do it in the chronological order in which I read it, or if I wanted to do this in the order of which I enjoyed the books. And I decided I was going to do that second option, so I'm going to introduce them from the books I enjoyed the least that I read this year so far, into the books I enjoyed the most that I've read. So yeah, so far this year I have read 16 different books, and I'm lucky enough to have 15 of those on me. There's only one that I don't have. I borrowed that from a family member, so I don't have that on me, but yeah, I do have 15 of the other ones. So yeah, I guess let's just get into the unfortunately lowest ranked book I read this year. And that is actually the first one I read this year too. It is Leadfeather by Stephen Graham Jones. I don't know if I was just not really feeling it when I was reading this, if I was zoned out, but something about this book just didn't click to me. It felt a little gimmicky, it was kind of hard to follow. I'd like to reread it because I read this for a class, and a lot of my classmates actually really liked it, but I was really struggling with it. I was struggling to see the vision, I was struggling to enjoy it, so that's unfortunately why it gets last place. But I would like to revisit this sometime because people said it was good, and I want things to be good. If I can enjoy something, I want to enjoy it. So I may check it out in the future again to try and see if maybe it's better. Maybe I was a bit locked out when I read it the first time. You never know. Unfortunately, at 16, I've got to put Stephen Graham Jones's Leadfeather. I think I gave this a 2 out of 5 on Goodreads, but I'd like to raise that up at some point. Alright, coming in at number 15, we have Saltfish Girl by Larissa Lai. This is another book I read for class, a different class, and it was good. This was a more enjoyable read, but it kind of had two storylines going on at the same time, and the way I like to think about two storylines is if you have two main plots, then you have 0 main plots. I need something primary to focus on. Of course, you can have B plots, C plots, and you should have B plots, C plots, but when you have 2 A plots, it makes it hard for me to care about either of them. Or when I get invested in one, I de-invest in the other, and then you switch, and then I have to get reinvested and then de-invest in the other one, and it's a whole ordeal. I'm not a huge fan of it. And there were really differing plots too. One was very dystopian, another was almost folklore. It was odd. It was kind of odd, but it was a cool story. You know, it wasn't terrible. I think I gave this 3 out of 5 stars, I believe. It wasn't awful, but it was just I read so many better things this year that I couldn't put it any higher. But this was also around the time I started tabbing my books. You'll see I'm a very heavy tabber with this one, and the other ones I'm still a heavy tabber, but not nearly as heavy as I was here. I've learned to pace myself with the tabbing. So yeah, number 15, Saltfish Girl by Larissa Lai. The book I have at number 14 is actually the one that I don't have on me, and that is The Great Divorce by C.S. Lewis. And I'll throw a picture of that up on the screen. But The Great Divorce, it was good. A lot of these in this range, I'm gonna say the same things about. It was good, but it didn't wow me. It didn't wow me by any sense, and it was just alright. It was short, and it's like a heaven narrative, and I don't know. I feel like I've read enough heaven narratives, heaven interpretations, theories, that they don't really do a whole lot for me anymore. It's not like they're not really profound anymore, at least to me. I thought it was cool. It was a cool way to imagine heaven, but it didn't really have much else for me, at least for me personally. But wasn't bad. C.S. Lewis, this was my first C.S. Lewis, and I want to get around to reading Narnia at some point. I just have other things, you know. But I liked his writing. His writing was cool, and I'd like to read his real fantasy. You know, that's not like a Christian parable. But yeah, I think I gave it a 3 out of 5 on Goodreads also. So yeah, that is number 14, The Great Divorce. Coming in at number 13, we have James Joyce's Dubliners. Now, I took a Joyce class this semester. That was another one of my classes, so you'll see a few more of James Joyce's works in this video. This is unfortunately just the bottom of it for me. Dubliners was cool. It's a collection of short stories, if you don't know what it is. I think this was his first publication, actually. And they were cool short stories. They were nice. They're very slice of lifey, but I don't know. They didn't really have a whole lot going on. But that's Joyce. It's Joyce for you. Joyce wasn't a big narrative fan. Said so himself, but it was nice. His writing style was cool, and this was the first thing we read for the class. I'll probably come back and reread a few of these stories in the future, now that I have a better appreciation for Joyce as an author. But for now, this sits at the bottom of my Joyce collection. I think I gave it a 3 out of 5 on Goodreads. I'd probably give it like a 3.5 if I could do half stars, because this is better than a 3, I think. I enjoyed this. It was fun. It was a fun, neat read. It's something you pick up and read one of the stories every once in a while if you just want some good prose, because he writes very nice prose. So yeah, Dubliners, number 13. Coming in at number 12, we have Albert Camus' The Stranger. Now, I've actually read The Stranger before. This is the second time I read it, and this wasn't even really a reading. I listened to the audiobook while I was driving to visit my friend. It was only like a 3-hour audiobook, so I just listened to it. And I wanted to listen to it because The Stranger, when I read it for the first time, was very impactful for me. It was when I was first starting to discover Camus and his ideas, and I still love Camus. I think he's amazing. I really want to read The Plague and Myth of Sisyphus, which I just haven't gotten around to. But The Stranger, because I read it at such an important part of my life, it had almost this romanticism to it. I always looked back on it and thought about it with fondness. And so I was like, oh, I'll listen to it again, read it again. I want to be reminded of that. Because I was also the friend I was going to meet. We had been talking about Camus and I wanted to brush up. And in listening to this, it wasn't as good as I remembered it being, and it really pains me to say that. I forgot how close to nihilism absurdism really is. This almost feels like a nihilist text. It made me realize I had kind of put my own spin on absurdism in the way that I live. That true absurdism, true to Camus' interpretation of absurdism, is still very bleak, still very dark. And I think this book does a great job of showing off that raw absurdism. I still think the nature of the story has a bit of charm for me. Meursault and his bleakness, his grim character, and the vibe of living in French Algeria and going to the beach. You feel kind of detached from everything. I don't know. It has this sort of mystique to it for me. That I equate with a certain part of my life in which I was reading this, and I don't know. It's just fondness, I guess. But it did kind of let me down on second read. But I do love Camus, love his writing, I love his philosophy. So this didn't turn me off of him. I want to read more of his stuff. It just kind of made me realize that I was associating it more with a memory than I was the actual work. But yeah, The Stranger, Albert Camus. I think I gave this adjusted a 3.5 out of 5 when I initially had it as a 4. So yeah, that is number 12. Coming in at number 11, we have A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man by James Joyce. Again. So this is the second work I read for his class. And this introduces an important character to Joyce, a guy named Stephen. He's kind of a self-insert-y type character. But I liked this better. This had a bit more of a narrative approach because it's done in like a biographical sense. So it's a bit more to follow than just jumping short stories. But I enjoyed this. It was cool to see Joyce work through different areas of development, like from childhood all the way up to late adolescence, early adulthood. This was good. There were some times where it dragged, but for the most part, I enjoyed this. I think this is the first one out of the books here that I gave a 4. This is a tasteful read for me. I enjoyed it. I would recommend. I don't know if I would come back to it. This is, I don't know. In my head, this is kind of the type of work you only read once. But who knows? Maybe one day. But yeah. Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man, coming in at number 11. Coming in at number 10, we have The Writing Life by Annie Dillard. So this is, I believe, the only work of nonfiction that's on this list. This is a mini essay collection by Annie Dillard, who is a Pulitzer Prize winner. And it's about writing. It's kind of like a little writing self-help book talking about some of how she views writing, how she equates that with different parts of her life. I found this to be a very helpful book in the time that I read it. And I still think back on it, and I look back on it and read a few of the passages from it from time to time. It helped me reframe the way I thought about writing and kind of motivated me to do it more. I think I found this, or not found, I was gifted this book, but I think I started reading it when I was in a particularly deep writing slump. So this came into my life really when I needed it, and I think Annie Dillard's prose is fantastic. I'd love to read Pilgrim at Tinker Creek. That's her Pulitzer Prize winner, which I believe is another nonfiction. But I really like her writing. I like her voice. So yeah, I want to read more of hers. And if you are looking for some pick-me-up works that will make you feel good about writing again, I'd highly recommend this. Yeah, I think I gave it a 4 out of 5 on Goodreads. This is really good. I like this. Alright, coming in at number 9, we have Homer's Odyssey. So I think this is the first work on the list that I have a video up for. So you guys can go check that out if you're really interested to know more of my thoughts. But the Odyssey is a really cool story. I think it's grown on me even more as I've just sat with it, which is a sign of a good story, I suppose. It's just a lot of fun. It's like the origin story. I don't know if it's like the origin, but it's one of the oldest ones. And it's just fun. Action, action and drive. It's good. It's passionate. I enjoyed this. Read this to help me with one of my classes, and also so that I could be prepared for the movie that comes out this summer, and also because I'm going to Greece in a few months, and I feel like I should have read this. Probably should have read the Iliad also, maybe, if I'm going to be reading all the essential texts, but I low-key don't want to read the Iliad right now. Maybe in a year or 2 or something, I don't know, I just don't really feel like reading much more Homer for a little bit. Not that this was bad, but it's just, I got a good taste of Homer with this, 12,000 lines, this was enough. Yeah, the Odyssey. If you're even slightly interested, I'd highly recommend, because it's just a really cool text, and Robert Faggles did a great job translating. This is really good. Yeah. That is number 9. Coming in at number 8, we have Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut. So this is another one that I have a video on. I think that's actually my most recent video. This is a good one. This is good. Postmodernist. It's different. But it's fun. It's cool. And it's dry too. It has this sort of like bleak sort of humor to it. It's a bit of a funny book at times, but it's also kind of haunting in a way. It really mixes those two very well, which I also feel is pretty akin to postmodernism. This book just does a lot, honestly. It does a lot, and it does it in a really cool way. If you haven't, I think about this book. It's one of those books that I feel like everybody has read it already, and not many people are like, you don't really hear people talk about, oh, I want to read that, or yeah, I'm reading this next. It's always a book that people have either read or want to read or plan to get to. I feel like not many people are actively reading it. So if you're you're one of those people who you're planning to read at some point, I recommend picking up and just doing it, because I mean, like, look at the pages. They're not populated very much with text. You can read this thing really quickly over a weekend if you wanted. So yeah, Slaughterhouse-Five. That is number 8. Coming in at number 7, we have Ling Ma's Severance. And again, another one that I have a video for. Severance was really cool. This is a cool book, and I really wanted to rank this higher, but if you've watched my video, you know I think the ending was a bit chopped. I did not really like the way this ended very well. I thought it could have been so much better, but everything before the ending is really good. And a lot of the reason why I like this book so much, why it resonated with me, was because it was written so recently. Recently, it was like 8 years ago, but it gave me hope for modern fiction, because I hadn't read much modern fiction that I was impressed by. But I was impressed by this, and it made me want to read more modern fiction and step out of my comfort zone to seek out more modern fiction. And I've done that in a lot of my recent purchases, and also my future book checklists. So yeah, Severance by Ling Ma, coming in at number 7. Coming in at number 6, we have Paradise by Toni Morrison. Now, I didn't make a video on this. I finished this like right around when I started making reviews, and I didn't really have my bearings when it came to making reviews yet, and this was a really dense text, and so I thought about making a video on it, but I kind of shied away from it just because I didn't think I was quite ready to tackle it yet. But this was a really cool book. This was really cool. This is my first Morrison, and I want to read more from her. It was very dense. She's a difficult writer, a lot more difficult than I thought she was going to be. But it's rewarding, and it's very rich, very, no word is wasted, it feels like, when you read this book. And I imagine when you read most of Morrison. But I've been told that this is one of, if not Morrison's, most challenging work. So interesting that I started with her hardest, I suppose. But, you know, I guess it's all downhill from here if I decide to seek out some more of her stuff. I want to read The Bluest Eye, and I also am I'm a little interested in Beloved. I'm more interested in The Bluest Eye, though. And maybe Song of Solomon. I heard good things about that. So yeah, coming in at number 6, we have Paradise by Toni Morrison. Alright, getting into the top 5. If you've been paying attention to the authors in the previous entries, then you will have been looking for this one. Number 5 is Ulysses by James Joyce. This book took me on a ride. For almost 2/3 of its reading, I thought this was going to be number 16. I thought this was going to be my least favorite book of all time. I thought there were times I really hated this book, but it's a serious test of patience that if you can get through all of it, it's really rewarding to look back on. And it throws into question a lot of what makes a book a classic. How much supplemental reads do you have to do to understand a classic, and at what point does it stop becoming an individual book and start becoming like a project? It throws a lot of that into question. But as you can see, I really read the hell out of this book. A whole lot of writing on each page too. I don't know if you could even see any of that, but yeah, this was kind of like the capstone of my Joyce class, and it was a very, very good capstone. I thought that I wouldn't have wanted to read this in any other setting, and I'm really glad I did read this. It changed the way I fundamentally read things, the way I think about art, the way I write. I was gonna make a video on it. I planned on making it like a big deal, but it's just gotten away from me. It's just been more and more difficult to make a video about this book. I wrote an essay about it that I'm particularly proud of. It wasn't for a class, it was just like a little personal essay on it. I might link it in the description if you guys are interested in reading it. I was gonna turn it into a video essay, but it's just been difficult to do that, and we're past the point where I'm super interested in doing that. I have the essay, and that's good enough for me. putting it to video is just a bit too much work, unfortunately. But yeah, Ulysses is really good. It might seem like too much work for a lot of people, and it probably is. But I really enjoyed this. I enjoy looking back on it, and I enjoy thinking about it. I enjoy thinking about this book a lot. It's one of the few books I think is more fun to think about than it is to read. It's a slog a lot of the times, but I really do intend to reread this in the next 5 years, and I'll have a whole lot of annotations waiting for me. And I think it'll be a completely different book when I reread it, because I'll be able to read the first half without pure hate in my heart. So yeah, Ulysses, James Joyce, tough love, but it's great. Alright, coming in at number 4, I have Outer Dark by Cormac McCarthy. So this is actually the most recent book that I've read, and I should have a video coming out on it relatively soon. This is really good. This is really good. I absolutely love McCarthy. It had been about a year since I had read McCarthy, and because of that lack of recency, he was starting to fall down on my list of favorite authors. I was taking him for granted, and then I picked up one of his books again, and I was like, oh, that's right. Why did he ever fall out of my number 1? I adore Cormac McCarthy's writing. He's probably my favorite, author. You know, I go back and forth between him and Hemingway, but I've read more McCarthy, and B, I just find myself just hooked. It's like a hand comes out of the pages and just grabs me. Like I really feel like I'm watching a master at work when I read this. He's definitely an inspiration for me when it comes to writing and when it comes to reading. And this book was really good. I'll talk about it more in my review, but this is like a better version of The Road. I guess something you'll learn about me over the course of this channel is that I don't like The Road. People talk about The Road like it's McCarthy's best, and I don't like it in the slightest. I think everything he does in The Road, he does better in every single one of his other books. And this is exactly the case. This is pretty much like The Road set in Appalachia, and it has more of a plot, and you actually get a nasty taste of the world, both of which are things that The Road doesn't really give you. And you get a really cool dialect in this. I won't go into it too much, just because this isn't a review for Outer Dark. I'll have that coming out soon. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I thought this was great, and the fact that this is McCarthy's second publication ever is really impressive, because this feels like a classic McCarthy, and he continued to write classic McCarthy for 50 years after this. So it's really cool to see that he nailed his style that early on. So yeah, number 4, Outer Dark. Alright, getting down to it. Final 3. Number 3, and I just talked about him, we have For Whom the Bell Tolls by Ernest Hemingway. This was my second Hemingway. My first was The Old Man and the Sea. This is my second one. And ooh, this book was great. I love this book. I feel a little bad about how I read it, because I started this in December, and I let it roll over into the new year, and I technically didn't finish this until mid-March. So it took a bit longer than I wanted to. But I'm so glad I did finish it, because the ending, the second half of this book is so incredibly good. Just so much about this book is so good. It's so different from anything I'd read. It's a great war book, great war novel, and just the ending floored me in a way I don't think I've ever been floored by an ending or a singular chapter. It was just so good, and it was this book that really kind of sent Hemingway up into the stratosphere of my rankings, and why I consider him one of my favorite authors now. And I still have A Farewell to Arms and The Sun Also Rises. Yeah, The Sun Also Rises. I plan to get around to those probably before the end of the year, just so I can have read my whole Hemingway box set. But yeah, probably number 3, For Whom the Bell Tolls. Highly recommend. It's a bit beefy, but it's very worthwhile. It's a really good book. It was really hard to pick which one I wanted to be number 2 and which one was going to be number 1, but I think I decided number 2 is Crying of Lot 49 by Thomas Pynchon. I made a video about this too. I'm gushing the entire time I'm making it. This is great. This is one of 2 5 stars that I gave this year so far, which Actually, I think I've only given 5 or 6 5 stars ever. So the fact that I've given 2 in 3 months is noteworthy, at least for me. I've read a lot of good books, you know. But this is great. It's my first pension. I intend to read I intend to read hopefully all of his catalog. I fell in love with him with this book. It was so good. I love his style. I love his storytelling. The conspiracy, the paranoia. It's just so different from anything anyone writes, and it's so unique, and it feels tailored to me. Like it sounds so like self-centered to say, but like reading this, I'm like, this feels like a book that was written for me. It's got everything I like in here. It was so good. I intend to read Vineland, hopefully before summer ends. I have high expectations for that too. But yeah, so it's very dense, very rich again. It's so good. It's so funny too, so goofy, so quirky, but also so serious, so like taunting. It's just got everything. It's hard to explain, but I really love this book. And if you're interested to hear what I think about it in a little bit more depth, I have a video about it, talking about how I interpreted it and stuff. So yeah, Crying of Lot 49, number 2. Now for number 1. The best book that I've read this year so far. It's Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. Now, if you knew going into this that Lonesome Dove was a book that I had read this year, it probably wouldn't surprise you that this is number 1. I feel like that happens to most people who read Lonesome Dove. It just kind of sits at the top of their rankings, and it despite all the hype, it really is that good. This book is a masterpiece. It's so good. It's definitely in contention for the great American novel, I think. It's just wonderful, man. The characters, oh my god, the characters are so good. These characters feel real. Like, you'll read these blurbs or these like reviews and they're like, these characters are lifelike, like, but they actually are. Like, these characters are incredible. You relate to them so well, to different parts of them. You have met people in your life who pretty much feel like one of these characters. And the story is so interesting, the imagery is so good. Just everything about McMurtry is just a master at work. McMurtry is just a master of westerns. This is so good. It's every single page. This is 850 pages, and I think I read this in like 35 days. I read this so quickly, and I tabbed it up too. There's a lot that I wanted to remember from here. It's so good. I already want to reread this, but I can't because there's other stuff I want to read, and there's also 3 other books in this tetralogy. So I guess instead of rereading this, I'll check out some of those books so I can get some of those characters again. But yeah, again, gushing. I do that a lot when there's a book I really like, but this book was so good. This is probably, I think, my second favorite book I've ever read. And there's a good chance that at some point, just through the passing of time, this surpasses it to number 1, but I don't know. I really love my number 1 favorite book. I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, Lonesome Dove. It is very, very good. So yeah, that is all the books that I have read this year so far. I plan to make, like I said, another one of these videos probably around August, documenting the 2nd, 3rd of this year, and what I've read during then. Probably won't be as much. Well, hopefully it's as much, but I don't know. I have a bit of a busy summer, but we'll see. Yeah, if you guys have read any of these books or have anything to say about any of them, feel free to leave a comment. I'm really curious to hear what all of you guys have to say. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this new video style. It's a bit more vloggy, I guess. You know, it's not quite as structured as a review is. You know, it's a bit more casual. But I might make more of this like casual vloggy content in the coming month, just because I'm reading a pretty big book right now. I don't really have a whole lot of reviews on the horizon, except for Outer Dark. but that'll come out, and then this will come out. And hopefully by that point, I'll be a little bit close to the end of this book I'm reading. If you guys enjoyed this, please leave a like, subscribe, and yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.